And are you refreshed?
I am.
Good. You are ready to continue? You are ready to continue?
Yes, yes. As I just told our friends here, I picked up Neil's book, Conversations with God for Teens, the other day. And what he apparently had done, he had asked a group of teenagers, if you could ask God any question, what would it be? And he got a whole bunch of questions, and then he responded back to that. And so I just thought it'd be great fun to hear, because they're great questions. And I'd love to hear what your responses would be.
Because your God is smarter than his God?
No, I think my God's almost as much fun as his God. He's got a fun God too, however. Yeah, they're both a lot of fun. Esther hasn't heard any of the answers. I've never read anything to any of his books to her. But she's heard these questions, so I did read the questions. But here we go. First one was, what is the purpose of life?
Joy.
Thank you. The next one, why
expansion is inevitable. And so many people think that expansion is the purpose.
That's true.
Because expansion is the result of a joyous reaching. But joy is what it is all about.
Thanks for expanding that. Thank you. The next one, why is there so much killing and suffering? And can anything be done about it? And can a teenager do anything about it, considering the fact that adults seem to hold all of the power?
Well, the reason that there is so much killing is because humans keep believing that the way to their perfect life is by ridding themselves of things that contradict their life. And so, rather than reaching for a vibrational adjustment, they are eternally, it seems, trying to control conditions. Mm-hmm. So, when you look at something wanted and say yes to it, you include it in your experience. When you look at something not wanted and shout no at it, you include it in your experience. So the more they focus upon what they do not want, the more they include it in their experience, and the worse their experience becomes. And so their drastic means of getting rid of these things that they believe it is well-meaning. They're just wanting to rid themselves of unwanted things so that they can live joyful. So the motive is joyful. They are just going about it in a way that will not work. Can anybody do anything about it? Mm-hmm. Everyone can do something about it and affect their individual experience, but no one has the power to affect all other experiences. So whether you are a teenager or any ager, by adjusting your vibration, you can control what happens to you. But we would not encourage anyone, not even that which you call God, to try to control the experiences of all. It is an individual effort.
The next one, you probably covered that already just now. Why does the world seem so full of hate?
It only seems that way to one who has activated that in their vibration, and then that's all they see. It is a small part of what the world is.
It's true, isn't it? Why aren't all of us born smart? One of them asked.
You are all born with the ability to attract infinite intelligence on any subject. You have never been a storage cabinet that is collecting smartness. You are a radio transmitter receiver that aligns with it. If you get convinced early on that you are not smart, and you keep that vibration activated, then you can never feel intelligent. But all have the ability to attract whatever they need whenever they need it. All are equal in that sense.
That kind of answers the next question, too, then. One of them asked, it said that so many people are short of food and housing. Why doesn't everyone use their natural ability to be happy and to get the things they want out of life?
Everyone can have whatever they want, but if you get fixated on shortage, shortage will be your experience. Just as you get fixated on abundance, abundance will be your experience. Mm-hmm. It all has to do with your vibrational inclination.
Well, that probably answers this one, too.
That vibrational inclination, by the way, is taught. In other words, you are naturally abundant, but shortage is taught. You learn that in your physical format, not from your non-physical perspective. Shortage is a human learned behavior.
Oh, thank you. How can a teenager deal with the pressure from parents and from school and from friends? In other words, he said, if I do what I want to do, my friends get angry. But if I follow them, then I'm not happy with and being true with myself. So should I be doing only what I feel like doing?
That is certainly the answer that we would offer. But there is one piece of it that we think you might be leaving out.
Okay.
Don't talk to everyone about what you are doing or what you are not doing. In other words, you say, my friends will be angry, but your friends will not notice so much what you are doing if you are not always making an announcement about what you are doing. Do what you please and keep it to yourself, and you'll be amazed at what you can get away with without upsetting others.
Thank you. This one asks, is my life controlled by fate, or is my destiny planned out for me?
Neither.
Neither.
Your life is controlled by your vibration, and you can offer a vibration deliberately. The reason that it often feels like it is controlled by fate is because you're offering vibrations that you are unaware of. You learn your vibration from others. You are not aware of what you are doing. You're not paying attention to the way you feel. Your emotions are not teaching you where you are. And so in your not being aware of what you are doing vibrationally, then what unfolds seems like a mystery. It isn't.
Why do I have parents who treat me so badly? In other words, this came from, do I pick my own parents?
Yes, you pick your own parents, and the way they treat you is because of the vibration that you've activated within them. It usually started because they were well-meaning. They are responding to their life. You offer a vibration. They respond to the vibration that you offer. They offer a vibration. You respond to the vibration they offer. And it sort of gets started in that way. You can change the way anyone treats you at any time by adjusting your vibration.
Which probably answers this next question. What power do I have to create what I want, and how can I use it?
By identifying what you want and practicing the feeling place of that more than the feeling place of what you've got instead. And when the feeling place of what you desire is dominant, it will be the way life unfolds. You have to change the way you feel. In other words, you have to have a virtual experience first. You have to be able to identify it before it happens, and then pretend it so that it's a dominant part of your vibration, and then you will live it.
Okay, that probably answers this next question, too.
That's the game we're playing.
It feels funny over here. It does feel strange. Okay, why don't our parents let us teenagers be who we want to be instead of how they want us to be? I want more freedom, but my parents don't have enough respect for me to really listen to what I have to say. What can I do about it?
Think about the vibration that you have activated there. As you say, my parents do not have respect for me. That's the vibration you've activated. They can't give you anything other than that. So then you say, but the reason that's the vibration I've activated is because that's the way they've treated me.
Yeah.
And we say, doesn't matter who got there first. As long as you are convinced that your parents have no respect for you, they will treat you with no respect. You have to pretend they have respect for you and activate that vibration, and then they will have more respect. Teenagers are like most everybody else, thinking somebody else should do something about this. If we were you, we'd do it.
Okay. Speaking of do it, what's the purpose for a teenager's desire for sex?
You're born with it. The purpose of it is to expand the human population. It's like the desire for food and the desire for water. It's an innate desire built into you to assure the longevity of your species.
And the follow-up on that would be, and is it wise to wait till I'm married to have sex?
If that's when the impulse first hits you.
Okay. Okay. Why are my parents so embarrassed about their bodies and about sex?
They've been taught. In other words, it is part of that socialization. It's part of the trying to control yourself from the outside in. We do not believe that they are as embarrassed as you think they are.
Okay, I'm not going to go on with that. Okay, okay, this one says...
Hard to ask someone else's question, isn't it?
That's a good point. I've just realized that I'm mostly attracted to people of my same sex, and so I've concluded that I'm gay at this point. But how can I explain my feelings to my family? And should I explain?
It is not so important whether you explain your feelings or not, and truly, explaining them will not mean that they will understand them.
Right.
It is important that you find vibration. We'll begin again on that. It is.
Maybe we could turn that the phone off.
It is not so important that you explain it to another, and even if you do, it is not necessarily that they will understand what you've explained. But it is important that you find a feeling place where you are not upset about it. In other words, the explanation so often comes from a place of defensiveness, and your defensiveness only attracts more of what you need to defend against. So once you are in alignment, once you are all right with who you are, once you are in love with you again, then usually others will find it easier to align with your love for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if they have helped you to condemn yourself, so you are really feeling condemned, so all of your explanation comes from a place of defensiveness, then that's the basis of your experience with the other. In other words, you have to find your place first and really feel all right about it first before you can ever begin to explain it to another and evoke from them a response that will please you. So often the responses that you get from others about anything just reflect back to you the way you feel.
Wow. And the last one, I guess in that area, someone says, well, shouldn't my having sex be nobody else's business?
Yes, but you tend to make it everybody else's business by needing them to approve. If you don't ask them their opinion, they're not as likely to give it to you. In other words, if you're all right with where you are and not seeking approval. You see, this is the thing that goes most wrong with this gay movement, so to speak, is that it is known by you that most do disapprove of you. And then from your defensive place, you set out to make them approve. If you would set out to make their opinion a non-issue, everything would go smoother for you. Why does it matter what they think?
We've been taught that it matters. I don't want to go off in a direction.
Well, that is because it's coming from your wanting to guide yourself from the outside rather than from the inside. It seems that in your very conservative environment, all discussion about sex, as you have already said about parents, is an uncomfortable subject. And we think it is because it is perhaps the primary example of where socialization tries to guide rather than natural impulse. And the closer you get back to your natural impulse, the better off you will all be. But as you flaunt your natural impulse in a society that decided that socialization means we were savages once, and in our socialization we have come away from our savagery, then they will assume that you are returning to savagery rather than to naturalness, you see. And so it all comes back around to the same idea that don't ask them to understand what you are about. Just be about what you are about, but don't ask them to understand what you are all about. And if you will stop needing their approval, then you will stop activating them with your vibration, and it will be a non-issue for you.
Excellent. Thank you. How could a merciful God condemn for eternity, they put in quotes, those whose ideas are different? Couldn't God have created us all to believe in and obey God's one and only religion?
Well, we cannot begin to tell you the number of false premises that are within that question.
I was afraid of that. Shall we jump that one? Or you want to comment further? Yeah.
Man has come upon a variety of opinions of what he thinks God is, all of which are inaccurate. And so the most flawed thing with that question is the idea that man should come to one religion or to one opinion or to one conclusion. That, above all other things, flies in the face of the diversity that is necessary for the expansion of this universe, you see. If you were all thinking the same, there would be no expansion. And so we would say that which you are calling God would never be excited about limiting thought, because that would lead toward endedness, and that will never be. So the idea that there are many different perspectives from which to approach life is a very healthy idea. What is troubling is that the never-ending struggle over whose idea is the best idea.
Right.
That's like saying there should only be one food to eat. What is the harm in the variety?
Well, that would lead into the next question. In other words, someone had asked, why doesn't everyone believe in one God? In other words, how do we get off to so many different gods?
Because man has created God in his own image, and there are many different images.
We're all different. Okay, this one. Why, in spite of the thou shalt not kill commandment, do so many people kill over who has the right religion?
Because most who say, thou shalt not do anything, mean everyone but them.
So that's true. I guess that's it, huh? Do you see cruelty and killing as wrong, like other than in self-defense?
We don't see it as wrong, but every time we've seen it, it has come from one who was very disconnected from who they really are. Those killers are asking for soothing that they almost never get, which makes them kill more. Think about those who kill in your society. Who are they? They're always disconnected, whether they are your president, who usually does not do his own killing, but orders it.
Right.
Or they are those who feel they are without choice, or they are those who are doing it in the name of righteousness. That is the biggest group. Or they are those backed into a corner where they believe that they are fighting for their own preservation.
The self-defense concept.
But without exception, it is all from a vulnerable place of disconnection.